Death by noise.
Through dark veil, space, time.
Yes, I like it.
This is Warp Chatter!
Sweet mother of the abyss!
There's a great deal of work to do.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Warp Chatter podcast. Once again, this is the podcast dedicated to talking about the Horus Heresy Legion digital card game, Horus Heresy lore, Warhammer 40,000, everything that encompasses. This is a podcast by players for players. I am your host, Scuff D, and we've got a special episode today. We have players with us, as usual, but we've got a little bit of a VIP player, and the focus of this episode is not necessarily just player-based. This is the Everguild Q&A, question and answers. So before I get into talking a little bit about that, laying out some framework for how we're going to run today's episode, with me, as always, let me make some introductions. It's the Crab co-host, Axel Manning.
Howdy, howdy, ho, folks.
And then joining us today, we have guest Terse.
Hi.
And we have the Everguild community manager,
Mr. Everguild himself.
We're going to call him Mr. Everguild, but he's deigned that he's allowed us to call him by his first name, Oliver. So therefore, we shall.
I also play the game as well.
Yes, you are a player, so that counts. See, so.
That answers the first question already, I believe. Like, is Everguild playing his own game? So, yes, they do.
Mr. Everguild himself plays the game.
Does play the game. So, we'll do a quick introduction, Oliver, for you to give kind of just some introduce yourself to the community as the community manager. I believe you just started recently in that position, but from the sounds of it, I believe you've been playing the game for some time.
Yeah, that's right. I've been playing since closed beta, so coming up to like 3.5 years, I think. I was there in the old days where you could make a Legion soup deck with Kelbar Hal.
Oh, yes.
Like, brutal. Yeah, I've been a massive Warhammer fan and Horus Heresy fan for the past 13 years or so. I'm not a bot, as some people in the Discord think I am. But yeah,
you could be, though.
I could also be a coffee machine, who knows. But yeah, I'm a sort of a massive fan, and I'm working in a job that I'm, pretty excited to be working in because it's my passion as well.
Excellent. Well, hopefully you maintain that passion. The game itself is fun and fantastic, and we've all got ideas, we've all got questions, which hopefully today we get some answers of that. But sometimes the community can be a bit divisive, be a bit emotional.
Hostile.
Well, hostile.
I think it's passion. Everybody feels quite passionately about Horus Heresy, Warhammer, and Horus Heresy Legion. So, I mean, I'll never fault anybody for having a strong opinion on a game that they love.
Yeah, I think that's
and
just it.
In general, on the Discord and on Reddit and so on, like, people behave like they get really passionate, I agree. But in the end, like, if they got their message out, they are quite fast back to normal, and it's a good discussion with those guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of the veteran players, so it's... the Discord's great. If any of you aren't on the Discord, I would recommend you jump on there because there's some really good discussions on, campaign or event decks, for example, and some really good tips from some of the veterans.
And just a quick shout out, if you haven't been on the Discord for a while or you haven't frequented the main cord as often as you used to in the past, now's the best time to do it. I also second that. I think the Discord, the discussion that you can have there is miles above the global chat, the in-game chat.
And also all the stuff around the league is like happening there, like tournaments, art contests, and lots of fun.
Lots of stuff.
Also lodge recruitment.
That's why we've got Terse here as the tournament organizer. I think we've got a couple topics to lead into that here in just a sec. But the bulk of today's discussion is going to be the Q&A. Typically, the Everguild has a Q&A when they've got something that they want to tease and or reveal. Kind of already got some precursors to that a couple days ago with the expansion announcement, announcing the Galaxy in Flames expansion. So there's already some hype there, but obviously there's a lot of questions that still have been asked or have been long time asked by the community. So I want to make sure that we make the most of our time today as possible. And hopefully those people who are tuning in who maybe haven't listened to the podcast before might find it interesting. We're going to have some good discussion, not just asking questions, but having some discussion about some of those answers as well. And there will be spoilers, so stay tuned for that because there's a lot of stuff coming up. And we're going to try to stick on topic and get as many of the questions asked. So just as a kind of a background on the Q&A, normally it's done on the Discord, and Everguild will schedule it and open up the window roughly for about 2 hours, and they field a bunch of questions from players. Oftentimes it's multiple requests of the same questions. But this time around, Oliver approached me, and I appreciate I appreciate the opportunity, but approached me to field questions from the community and do it on this forum on the podcast. So for 4 days, from Thursday through Sunday, I set out to gather questions from the Discord community, from the players group on Facebook, and from the Reddit community as well, and gather the questions all in one document. And every question that was asked, every emote and upvote that was given to a question, I made sure to note, so that way we're getting the biggest, most popular questions asked for sure, and all those little odds and ends questions in there too, if we can have time allowed. Now, obviously, there are some questions that cannot be answered for one reason or the other, and if Oliver's allowed or able to expand on that, he certainly will. But other than that, I hope everybody gets the answers that they would like, or at least hears. And maybe you might not like the answer, but at least you might understand the answer and the fact that you're getting the questions asked. And hopefully this is a good episode to listen to and keep you coming back, or at least getting you coming back to the community and the game. Because I'm excited about it. I'm hyped. And I think we're going to kind of rotate questions a little bit between the three of us, myself, Axel, and Terse. Are you guys ready for it?
Absolutely. Yep.
I mean, I have the doc open here, so as long as you guys don't tell me to pick a random one, it should be good.
We'll start at the top. All right.
Perfect.
I'll kick it off. And these are in no given order. I mean, actually, they are in an order. But
you lied to us already.
That's right out the gate. Right out the gate. These aren't in order. No, they are in order. First off and foremost, are new players a concern for Everguild? Given the broad feeling that there is a little content left for this game to expand into. If so, what sort of changes could be considered to encourage or retain new players and grow the player base? And that was asked by 17 different players. I'm only making that number, I'm not making the number up, I'm only listing it just so you guys know that was a higher volume question.
I was going to say the number of the second question doesn't surprise me, but I love the passion the community has for it. We'll get to that bridge.
It's the same guy who asked the question like above 20 times.
Yeah.
And we all know.
Orthanol. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
New players, obviously new players bringing into the game is great. That's sort of the lifeblood of the game as well. If you think the PvE campaigns, they were specifically aimed at new players. We're expanding our marketing efforts as well, so we're going to be doing more with the content creators and reaching out to some of the larger sort of YouTube channels because, at the end of the day, more players, more expenditure is good for the game. That's the standard sort of way a game goes, so, the more interest, the more we can do with it. We are bringing in a new feature. It's in sort of the concept stages at the minute, like a battle mentor system. So veteran players will be able to help and sort of coach newer players, and there may be sort of rewards in it for them for helping newer players reach certain milestones, which I know is a feature that has been asked a couple of times. So that one is in sort of the concept stages that we are planning to introduce.
Can you say a bit more about the buddy mentor system, or is it still confidential?
It's not so much confidential in the fact that we've got an idea and we're just thinking of ways to implement it.
It's in the workshopping phase.
Yeah, it's something that we will be doing. And, I can't give you a set date on it yet, but it's something that we want to do because we have a lot of veteran players. A lot of people are really good at the game. And from the statistics, we're still getting a lot of new players downloading the game. It's about sort of getting them further involved with it. How do we get people playing it after the campaign and a few hours after that? Linking them up with a veteran player who can give them tips, because there's a lot of cards in the game.
I absolutely agree. That's something also many players ask for help for deck building and some advice, matchup advice. And in the end, you can so far only help them like to a certain degree. So I'm super like excited about that system because it helps like lodges growing their members, like making something like a training lodge or stuff like that. And
Yeah.
that sounds really, really good.
Yeah, so that is a definite feature that we'll be bringing in. I can't give you a time, but it's something that we're really strongly sort of looking into.
That's exciting because that is something that is, I know, been asked in one way, shape, or forms multiple times through the years. And obviously to know that it's another focus on building new players. I think the campaigns have been enjoyable. They are definitely aimed for newer players, but at the same time, I think they're an excellent tool for a new player to start out, get some cards for a faction, and kind of go up from there. So that's good to hear that that's continuing.
Yeah, definitely.
I really want to ask questions here, to be honest. Please,
Do it.
Mr. Everguild, when are we going to get Lord of Flies in this game?
I love the Lord of Flies. He's one of my favourite warlords personally. Yeah,
Where are you then?
we do want to introduce him. It'll most likely be a event, so players will have to earn the Lord of Flies. But it's something that we do want to introduce. But
Please
it will.
don't set him up against Corferin. Please don't do that.
Oh, you gotta.
Ooh,
that's the perfect event.
That would be
It'd be
the
interesting to
ultimate.
see. Be interesting to see if the community can unite to free the Lord of Flies.
Well, I
would happily kill Corferon to get Lord of Flies.
But yeah, he's
Personally.
definitely on the cards. Is the Lord of Flies?
Yeah, personally, I thought the was it the 2 or 3 year anniversary video that Everguild did, where they specifically highlighted some bitter losses, and then they showed the Lord of Flies and Corferon images, was just like that was justice. Yeah, it was great.
It was beautiful.
Okay, I think I take the next question, and it fits perfectly. Like, is there any chance we will see a reduction in the RNG elements of this game? Like, or some adjustment to some neutral legendaries in their impact, like, for example, Crucible Choice?
You guys will probably be able to remember what Crucial Choice used to be.
Sure.
It wasn't an impact card, really, then. We changed it up because, it wasn't being used much, and it was a legendary, so we changed it up. The game is always going to be subject to ongoing balance. We don't plan on reducing the amount of RNG in the game. We see that as one of the sort of core bits of the game. Whether you're never going to know whether your defense satellites is going to do 4/4 across the board, or minimal damage across the board. That's I think we feel it's one of the core mechanics of it, and it can be frustrating. When you're fighting Khan and his pings go exactly where you don't want them to, but it's part of the game. We see the RNG as a critical part of the game.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree that at some point, like, the better player you are, the more you can minimize RNG effects. So it has, like, if you learn, you can handle the RNG, like, better. And so it's, like, entertaining for newer players as well as for older veterans. Like, RNG is an important part, I think, of the game, like you said.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, can campaign interactions be added as actual interactions?
Yes, they can. I'll be straight up, it's not an immediate priority for us at the minute with some of the things we've got in the pipeline. But yeah, it is a possibility. There's some of them that could do with being in the game, like Dawn and Perturabo, for example. I think that was the most mentioned one that I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be done, but at the minute, it's not at the top of the priorities list.
When deleting a deck, can the current scroll position of the deck list be preserved rather than reset to the top of collection?
Yeah, we've passed. Actually, when I saw that, I passed it on to the development team to look into. That's a quality of life improvement that it might seem relatively small, but now we know about it, we can definitely look into that. So yeah, that. And I know people will be used to. I've passed it on to the team excuse, but I genuinely have spoke to the development team about that.
Well, and it is a big quality of life improvement for
It is, yeah.
for those who have used up all of their deck slots, and there's multiple rows. I know there's some players out there that just have like 1 or 2 decks, and it's not a big deal. But when you have massive amounts of decks used, or you're using multiple decks for a tournament, and you want to have a couple variations, it's just a nice little sort feature to have it right there, as opposed to having to tab over and then move it all the way to where you want it to be.
Yeah, I totally agree. So yeah, that's something that it's been nice that the community's highlighted that to us.
Scuff, is this a part where you then ask for extra deck slots?
Oh, that's coming.
That's
Okay.
like at the bottom, like the Scuff personal question.
That's it.
Oh,
There'll be-
yes, I saw those.
Yeah, there'll be extra sound effects added and everything.
Okay. Next question. Will new factions be added to the game and when?
I can't say.
Fair
Mr.
enough.
Evergold's holding out on us.
That's the first I can't say, but that's legit.
To be fair, that makes sense.
That makes sense. We have
Yeah.
we have all the legions already. We have.
Yes.
I mean, we'd really have to. We can come up with some, but we really have to stretch to get some factions that aren't already in the game.
Yeah, it's more a case of, we have to approach Games Workshop and say, can we do this, can we do that? Because at the end of the day, it's their IP. And, they're very happy with what we've done, and Games Workshop have been really good to us in regards to letting us do things. But yeah, we just have to sort of be careful about what we can release and what we can't release. So at the minute, I can't say.
That's
And
fair.
I mean, there's also like limited background on like factions in general that can be added. So like if you go to Xenos factions, like not Eldar, not Orcs, like those named in the Heresy, like how much do we know about them? Like how much background is there to make a card out of it? It's also probably something you have to keep in mind.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask this for my boys in gold. Legio Custodes, rework when?
There isn't one planned as of yet. It depends how the meta evolves, you could say. The statistics don't point to one being direly needed yet, to be honest with you. So yeah, I can't say, but there isn't one on the books yet.
Okay, so we can blame the user, Constantine Valdor, solely on that reason. No.
Blame the players, yeah.
No,
to be
well,
honest,
the guy
like-
who names himself after him.
Yeah, but like to be honest, when I checked the Lodge Wars like Warlord selections, Custodes aren't very they are popular. I have seen a lot of Aemon and some Nassau, so they can't be that bad.
Yeah, Eamon was he in High Terror at the October?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
They are they're good. They just have a high skill barrier, or like learning curve, I guess you could say. And all their decks look very similar.
I think that's the biggest problem for me with the Custodes. I love them. I like the combo that they roll. It's just ultimately it comes down to the same core cards that make them work.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Some legions have that where you need 5 or 6 cards to make them work.
Night Lords.
Every time someone asks for Night Lords, I'm just gonna push the rework back a week.
Oh, you got to double down.
I'm kidding.
Months.
No, I'm
Make it
kidding.
months.
I'm kidding. Don't worry. We'll come to that later.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Mr. Everguild, never give us Night Lord buffs, please. Too many people want them at this point. Could we get a remove all button to just quickly remove all the cards from deck list? I actually really agree on this one.
Yeah, I definitely agree as well. It's a really solid. I don't know who put that in, but it's a really good suggestion. Yeah, we'll see how. We need to have a look at this, how our sort of system works, and if we can do it. But if we can do it, I'll be pushing quite strong with that, since I think it's a great idea.
Lovely.
Okay, the next one is probably directly related to the last one I asked. Is there any possibility to expand the licensing agreement to act Xenos, so Orcs and Eldar?
We would absolutely love to. There's nothing more than we'd love to put Orcs in, but it touches on what we said before about sort of what we can and can't do. Xenos didn't have a huge impact. They didn't really do much in the Heresy if you exclude the Cabal and the Eldar to a degree.
The Eldar showed up last
Yeah.
of the Astartes and disappeared.
Yeah, if we'd love to, but at the minute we can't say for sure.
I mean, there has been the one Orc boss, like the Emperor Slate and stuff like that. So I think there can be made a case.
Technically before the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
That's the issue we have here.
Okay.
The game's not called The Great Crusade.
To be fair, you can't tell me you don't want to be part of a game like that.
I'd love
All
to be.
the
It'd be great.
all the
Honestly,
legions at their peak.
every member of the team would love to have Xenos in it. It's more a case of that's a conversation with Games Workshop way down the line.
Yeah, talk to the big GW and get the okay on that one. Well, this is a big question, or I should say a big topic. What is Everguild's approach and goal to balance patches? How do they determine what gets patched? Is it just the meta report? Do you look at other things? How much time is needed to determine what gets patched? And are there certain player types, such as high Terra players or just vocal content creators, that you take into consideration? And then also, do you plan on continuing the current pattern of releasing balance patches, such as the first week of the month?
Yeah, we don't really do balance, so this question is a bit... No, I'm kidding. We look at more stats beyond the meta report. We also look at player feedback. So even if a warlord isn't, or a card, for example, isn't necessarily doing too well, if it's just frustrating to fight against, like a certain Demon of Nurgle, for example, that was released with Ruinstorm. He wasn't necessarily ultra competitive. He was just very frustrating to fight. With relentless and poison enemy troop every turn. That's why we changed it. He didn't necessarily have a great win rate. He was just very frustrating and annoying to fight. So it's not just based on the meta reports. We do pay attention to what the players at High Terror are doing, because these are the players that really push the boundaries on what combinations you can do. Because obviously the combination works, they go to High Terror. So we pay attention to what they're doing quite significantly. They will know combinations that nobody's ever thought of before, or something that should work but doesn't work, or vice versa.
And I think that's fair too, because they also, they're pushing it to the ultra competitive level. They tend to have full card collections to make use of those combinations of cards, and they can do it quicker. A player that might have the idea might not have all the cards at Mars, and it might take them, a month or two to gather the key pieces. The High Terror players are going to have that stuff together. When Baleful Assembly came out just last week, day one, like 10 minutes in, I fought like 5 or 6 Baleful Assembly decks that were primed and loaded. And I guarantee you those are players who had that deck list ready the minute that we knew that we had unlocked that card, and were just waiting to test it out. So it wasn't even a matter of it was, like I said, it was within 10 minutes. I woke up at 5 a.m., bought the card, went into play, and started facing other Baleful Assembly decks. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Regards to the balance patches, we do plan to keep up the current pattern of it. It might change down the line for whatever reason. But currently we are wanting to keep how we're doing balance patches at the moment. Yeah,
and I think that's... I like the consistency.
Oh, yeah.
We talked a little bit about this, I think, last week on the podcast in terms of knowing, it may not encompass everything, but we know that it's coming and that the balance patch is relatively significant for what we're getting. I think that's good for the game.
Also, the last balance patches have been very, very good, I think.
Yeah, we've had like 5 months of big patches delivering some big changes.
We do pay attention to what people say. Contrary to popular belief, we do actually keep an eye on the feedback channel and balance panels in Discord. Channels in Discord.
You've got the number one asked question here, Terse.
I think that's Axel's, right?
Oh, it is Axel's, you're right. No, Axel?
Axel.
It's you.
I didn't want to say these words, but I'm going to have to. Night Lords. Rework win?
Honestly, looking at the statistics, they're not doing bad. It's worth saying they aren't completely down with, some of the worst performers. They're actually not doing too bad. It has been a while since they've had one, but they haven't specifically needed one. They still compete rather well, even if maybe not at the top tier levels. They do represent on the lower sort of Mars, low Terra regions.
I think that's the issue. There are lots of Night Lords fanboys also on High Terra, and I don't think I have seen anything else than what's its name, like the apothecary.
Modrum?
Modrum.
Except him on 4K plus Elo.
Yeah.
I don't see Curse, I don't see Savatar, and Malkadov for sure not. So.
Oh, Malkarion's actually pretty popular from the people I know who do run Night Lords up there.
It takes a very specific deck to make Malkarion work.
Yes.
But I've seen it before. So there will be one coming down the line, depending on how the meta evolves, which you're going to get used to hearing that a few times. Like we announced, all new Legions are going to be getting new cards. The Night Lords will be getting new cards as well. That'll be down the line. So by the time we do that, there might be a rework in the pipeline for them.
Is there a schedule for it yet?
Not yet, no.
The next question is pretty much also the same. Can we expect any rework attention on Chaos Spawn, Iron Warriors, Nemetor, or White Scars?
White Scars, yes.
Okay.
I can't tell you what it is exactly, but there may be a reveal coming up in the next few days, which might touch on some of the new mechanics for White Scars.
New mechanics. I hope that somehow EG heard our request to have more interaction with Return to Hand.
We might have.
Mr. Evergill.
There's
We love
nothing.
you.
There's nothing wrong with the Chaos Spawn whatsoever. Everybody's just salty, and there's no changes for the Iron Warriors or Nemetor either that we've got. Obviously, Iron Warriors, as all legions, will be retrieving. Oh, we're getting new cards, but yeah, there's no plan for a rework on that.
Have you considered letting Chaos Spawn kind of work like a Power Ranger, where if you have enough on the board, he can just make a giant one?
I like the Chaos Spawn. Honestly, I think it's a great card.
Yeah, I understand, but please, can we turn him into a Power Ranger?
I'll
Like
I
if you
think that's
play
my key
all
part here.
4 Greater Demons and he gets like the Super Chaos Spawn, that sounds good.
we don't want to confuse players, so
Oh, there you did it.
He
The eye
said
of
the thing.
the Eye of Terror Studios is shaking.
Quakes.
But no, there's no plans to rework them. White Scars are going to be getting a bit of a treat coming up, so do keep an eye out on reveals for that.
All right. Well, the Cross Faction event that just wrapped up, a lot of players were excited about that, enjoyed that. They wanted to know, do you think that you could work this system into the core game in some way? Like maybe having factions allow for a small pool, like a 5-card pack that they could select from another faction or some other restriction, or perhaps just having a mixed faction or warlords that have a way to mix factions, such as like an Imperium Secundus warlord.
We haven't got any plans for it as of yet. I'll be straight up and honest about it. We haven't got any plans yet. It does sound really cool. Down the line, we may look at a way, maybe after this expansion is done, every Legion has the new cards, we may look at it, but don't hold me to that since there's no direct plans for it yet. It would be really cool, though.
Now, before you ask this next question, Axel, I do want to clarify. All of these questions were asked by people in the community.
Now, I feel like that's stated because of this question.
No, it's
And if I didn't just black it.
yeah. There's a couple down the road. I mean, this question, but there's a couple down the list too that people might ask. Like, really? Yes, really.
Will there be an event that solely consists of the player killing Fulgrim as Rylanor with virus bombs?
Yes, yeah, definitely. We're going to have the only warlord pickable will be Rylanor, and he'll have 30 copies of virus bombs versus Demon Primarch Fulgrim.
I mean, that should just be a campaign at that point.
That's going to be it.
Not
That's
even an
all it's going to be. It's going to be Rylanor and 30 copies of virus bomb.
If you want to play that game mode right now, you can contact Toxic Bulb or who's the other guy who makes
Mr. Bunn.
Mr. Bunn, yeah.
I also know how to
NPM
do it,
them.
but I have not used the power.
Okay, good.
Yeah, 110% definitely going to be in the game.
All right, perfect.
Okay, the next question is about the main character of the Horus Heresy Legion, Lucius, the best swordsman, and will he receive a buff? Why didn't he receive a buff? And will he get a special card or an alternate art?
Yeah, hopefully we will get all the warlords in the game to have alternate art. He didn't receive a buff because we didn't think he needed one going by it. There may be one down the line, depending on how the Emperor's Children meta with the new balance patch, how it goes in the future, but there might be one down the line. I can't say.
Perfect.
Okay.
I think really, I mean, he's going to do okay, primarily because of hold at all costs. I've had a lot of fun with him. Yeah, it's a really good card now. It was good before, but it's aces for him now. So time will tell.
I think the biggest problem is that people compare him to some other great swordsmen like Corswain and stuff like that. And if you don't factor in his Legion pool, he lags. But with the Legion pool, he's actually quite decent.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem with Lucy is that people got so used to not using it, so they're sort of discarding him without trying him out with the new card pool. I think
boning.
Yeah, I think if people start to experiment with Lucius now with the new card pool, I think they might be quite surprised.
I agree. And just a quick plug, I did do a Lucius video. If you haven't checked that out, check it out, the Lucius video. There's probably a couple other content creators who've made a Lucius deck list video since the Emperor's Children patch, but I think I put up there like one or two after the Emperor's Children patch, and I mean, I kind of came to the same conclusions. He's a lot of fun to play, and he's got a lot of new tools to make him good.
Is it concentrated fire?
Yeah.
Is it concentrated fire where the perfection heals too as well?
Yes.
Things like that work wonders for him.
Yes.
Mr. Everguild out here not memorizing every single card.
I'm so
For
sorry.
shame. For shame.
So that aside, what is the future of the game once the events of the Heresy are concluded?
We have like massive plans for the future. We aren't ready to announce them just yet. The things that we've got in the pipeline, but we can't even give hints away because the plans are that big for it.
Okay.
So I know that seems like a really bad answer, but we have huge plans, but we just can't announce them yet.
Well, you don't
Is
have.
a timetable like 6 months in the future, 1 year in the future, or so?
Don't ask me. No, because people will ask me in 6 months' time saying, "Where is the new whatever?" So don't ask us to do a roadmap.
Okay.
Just you don't have to answer this, but just if you can put a bug in the air, if it involves any sort of a evolution, if we can continue to keep the cards that we have, that's the biggest thing for me.
Cool. Yeah. I can understand why I'd feel the same way. To be honest with you.
I'm loving the questions I'm getting, by the way, because they're all the ones that are dumb joke ones that I know personally who asked them, and I love this. Now, Mr. Everguild, is there any chance of more Titan warlords?
So I've written down for this question. I've just put a smiley
face. It killed me when I read it.
I've just put a smiley face. Just imagine a big grinning smiley face.
It's got
like
the Alpha Legion emote, is what you got.
Yeah. All I can say is smiley face. As strange of an answer as that might be.
Okay. Is the Emperor ever being added to the game?
Can't say. However, I would recommend the data miners might be able to elaborate on this one, looking at Parrot in the Discord.
Ancient Parrot, a hero.
Yes. Yeah, hero to you, yeah. More of like a Robin Hood type character, really.
Exactly. He takes from Mr. Everguild and gives to the people.
Yeah, I would recommend you getting on Discord and asking him about that.
Is that poor soul, like, he gets so annoyed by me already when I ask him, like, give me spoilers about what's coming with the patch and stuff like that. So he probably gets like 500 PMs every day.
I do want to do an episode. Yeah, I do want to do an episode with Ancient Parrot if he's available to ask him those questions. Not necessarily how he does what he does, but I mean,
it's sorcery.
There's always somebody pinging him, and that's like, and then like, not only is there always somebody pinging him, but then just like within seconds, he's got what they need. He's like a genie. It's crazy.
He's told me how he does it before. I mean, I can't reveal this information, but he's told me how he does it.
A magician never reveals his tricks.
Please tell me how he does it. Please.
Mr. Everguild. Now, this payment is giving my word bearers Terminators.
New players to the game have a huge pool of cards to hunt for and accumulate gems at an even slower rate due to the large card pool. I've asked this question in the Q&As in the past. Access to the cards is challenging for them at all levels. Is there any plans to address this or improve the shop to assist in collecting?
Yeah, that is something we're working through at the moment. I can't give you a solution, but we're aware that's a problem. We're working on numerous ways to sort of improve that for everyone. So yes, it is being handled.
Perfect. All right, let me grab my next question here. I really am happy. Why did they make Corswain a better Lucius, Mr. Everguild?
Because Corswain is a better swordsman than Lucius.
A perfect answer. A perfect answer.
Just saying.
I wanted nothing but to hear those words.
Change his mind.
Try, I dare you. It will not work.
I think the question that I really want to see is, why is Corswain and Lucius currently represented better than Sigismund? But I mean, nobody asked that, so I'm just gonna. You don't have to answer it.
No, you can ask.
That's just about that.
That's just my salt. I'm just salty on that.
Sigismund is fine. He's good.
Yeah, that's what you want us to believe.
He's a defensive warlord.
Bolter fire is too loud, Turs.
I mean, his special card is really, really good, and in events he's like super fun to play. I mean, if there wasn't a certain guy named Cambadius, I think there could be some place for him in this game. Okay.
I love Sigismund.
Next question. Can we have Ophion as the 5th NL Night Lord's Warlord?
Yeah, this is a similar answer to what I gave for the Lord of Flies. He will be coming up as a possible reward in events.
So it's a 3 choices event like Corso. It's Ophion, Lord of Flies, or Corfaron. Nice.
No, they might be split over different events.
Okay.
So, we might have one event where it's 2 Night Lords, Warlords, and the winner gets implemented in the game.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Not as controversial as where an entire legion was put to event.
Will there be a way to unlock and play past events or campaigns at some point?
Yeah, personally, I'd love this one because I think that'd be awesome. And we're thinking about ways to implement it and how it might work with the game because we're conscious about the file size of the game itself. So if we start adding a load of older campaigns to increase the file size, so on and so forth. So yeah, it's something that we're conscious and we would like to do.
What I'm hearing is you don't want a 10 gigabyte game for a mobile game.
I think that might.
And I'm hearing cowardice.
We'd like to do it. It's just finding the right way to do it.
A convenient excuse, Mr. Evergill.
Prepare for lots more of them.
Oh no! All right. This one isn't actually a joke one for once, but this is one I want to know. Can we receive more information on meta reports, better breakdowns, more warlord data?
Yeah, we can have a look into it. One drawback is that some warlords with a very low use rate, sub 1%, may show win rates that are very skewed. Someone might have made a Mimi deck that they might just be really, really good with, so it completely skews the win rate, for example. We do take it into consideration, by the way, it's worth saying, that for balance purposes, like the Falk veteran deck, the Tyranthikos type stuff, we do take all of that into consideration when we come to do balance stuff. So if one warlord is 80% win rate, but 0.5% use rate, that is a red flag for us.
By the way, can we TOs get some detailed information about the meta, at the end of months, so we can use those for upcoming tournaments, what to ban and what to restrict? Is there a possibility you can spoil us with that?
We can have a conversation about that.
Okay, cool.
I think, if anything, for the meta report, because there's a lot of data that people would like to know or hear, and some of it is very specific to certain players or player types that want to know one specific thing. I think I was talking to somebody on the Discord about this a couple days ago, because we see that the list for the warlords on the meta report has grown exponentially. It would be interesting to see at least the bottom five, the 5 warlords who are not seen play. At least to compare that and kind of, maybe compare over the years, okay, well, a year ago, these warlords weren't getting played at all. Where do they stack up now? Are they still at the bottom, or are they somewhere in between?
Yeah, like I said, it's something that we can think about in regards to how we present it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's heard. We've heard it.
Okay. The next question, I think you answered this one 5 times already. Corfaron, when?
Yeah, same answer as Ophion or the Lord of Flies. He will be coming up in an event. Can't tell you when, but we'll see if the community can rally behind and try and get Corfaron in. But yes, he will be a potential option.
Can Drager get a choose one of 3 option?
No, it's fine as is. We think it's fine as it is. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. 2 people did not, but that's okay.
We don't see the need to change it at the minute. We think it's sort of fine as it is.
I feel like that's just coming from people who have had those moments where he's only producing Iron Circles. Not even Iron Circles, but the
Rhinos.
Not even Rhino. Rhino has an early game drop. Lazarus. You get Lazarus as your as your only fucking troop for 3 turns in a row. You cry. I have been there. I've cried.
It's RNG.
Yeah, the RNGs will sometimes favor you.
It does.
All right, and you know what? Another good one. Please, Mr. Evergild. Is a coffee machine working fine? I got it now.
Someone filled it with salt, and
Mort.
Someone filled it with salt, but no, it's still doing the QAs and testing as well. So it's doing good.
It's hard to test without caffeine.
You could say that.
Are you going to improve or rework neutral cards or neutral heroes in any way? Most of them simply cannot compete in the ladder now.
It's a bit of a funny one, this, because people will, the community is very, very good at finding new combinations that they would never have thought before, just because they want to experiment. So we'll always think people will find a way to reuse cards, for example, but we also have them in mind for balance changes as well. It's always a thing, it's always an option on the cards to rebalance.
I honestly
things that go well.
I have to disagree with the question as well, because there have been some really strong neutral warlords who have been very solid in tournaments.
Lucretia.
Lucretia. And Fail and Lucretia. I think Fail was a winning warlord for the last Lodge Wars episode. I think Bloodbody played it. Oh,
Yeah,
Scott, can
he's
you-
a brilliant one.
Yeah, so he's good. I don't see the issue with the question here. So
I feel like when they say neutral warlords, they mean the really niche ones, but they use the term just neutral blindly. There's so many good neutral warlords.
I agree.
I mean, I have friends who are taking the Destructor, Myrmidon, to High Terra like it's nothing. There's good
Myrmidon is
neutrals.
very
He's a
good.
great neutral. He's mini Perturabo.
Mandragorax
Decima has
is
been
underrated.
annoying
Kalidas
for
Assassin can be
everyone.
very good. Yeah, they're all good. You just have to build them and play with them to that level. Like if you just want an instant solution, I'm gonna try like Scoria. Don't get me wrong, there are some challenges like Scoria, but I mean if you really double down and
gotta
spend your
believe.
time and play, there is.
I mean, honestly, the issue that most people probably have is that you can add neutrals to any Astartes faction, but you can't add Astartes to any neutral faction. And
No,
it
they
should be
feel
so
like
broken
they
if you
are,
could.
yeah, obviously, like if you can pick from all Astartes factions, you will see some really, really bad warlords.
Yeah.
Saying give Lotera a single World Eater Astartes. That's all I want. One.
No, it's not allowed.
She's got
Please,
the
I
conqueror.
beg
That's
you.
enough, man.
Mr. Everguild, I
She
beg
has
you.
Ursa's claws. It's fine.
Yeah. Now, in recent trailers, as well as the trailer that dropped for Galaxy and Flames, there has been Warlord animation shown on cards. I think the Galaxy and Flames trailer looks like the Warlords have kind of a hologram type feel. Is it possible that this animation might appear in the game?
So, when I was asking the rest of the team on this question, half the team would love to do it. Half of the team are against the idea of it's a lot of work to introduce it. So there's a bit of a conflict on the team going on there. So we will see which side of the team wins, and then
So
you'll know.
everyone wants it except for the programmers.
They're the most influential ones. Yeah, there's a bit of a conflict. So if you see it, happy days. If not, the other side's won out.
Okay, so here's what you do. I have the solution right now.
We declare war on Everguild.
You go to the break room, and then you create an event, an in-game event, and then you make the decision very obviously one-sided. Put the best decks on the side of holograms, and then the worst decks on the side of no holograms, and then have the
Okay.
players play.
I like it.
It's a bit biased.
We can also play it out in the TO versus mod tournament, and if the TOs win, we get holograms, and if the mods win, we don't get them because we will stomp them anyways. So it's like as one-sided.
There's some malice in this sentence, I feel. I don't know.
Why? I mean, the mods are they are nice. They just can't play the game. So that's it.
Those are fighting words.
I think I may be wrong with the malice. That's pure hate.
Disrespect is the word you're looking for.
No. Hate. Okay. I love this answer so much. Is there any chance the system of new cards out of the game via event will be worked? It would be better if players could choose what cards should be added regardless of what warlord or side they play.
The answer is no in capitals, but I don't want to shout down the microphone. No, that's the entire point of the events. People can either play, for themselves, or they can play or they can unify with other lodges, communicate with other people to have a big push for certain things. We have seen it before in a few cases, to be honest with you.
Yeah, as upset as we get, we did see the case where viral, the neutral hard removal for everything that wasn't a vehicle poisoned the board. Viral warfare, some shit like that. We all know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I know.
which
I remember it. It was
Okay.
the one that we
Yeah,
won
oh,
instead
yes,
was
I do, yes,
the attrition
yeah.
warfare, or the tank one. Yeah.
Yeah, and instead we got the tank one, which, while some members in the community are upset, everyone, there was a push for that, because originally it was going to win, and enough people just rallied against it.
Well, just like we had, we had Apotheosis versus, Assassination.
Ass attempt?
Yeah.
Also, there has been Campedias versus what's his name?
Okay, to be fair, we fought for
Fafnir.
Fafnir. We fought for Fafnir.
I fought for him as well, and we didn't make it because I think not enough people from the community are on the Discord so far. So,
And there's an
Also-
issue that playing Alpha Legion against Imperial Fists was not fun.
Or maybe people in the community said they were fighting for one, but they were actually deceiving you.
Pirate Lahai would never lie to me.
That sounds like an Alpha Legion thing to do.
We all know how many hours Pirate Lahi put into that. There's no way he alone put in thousands of tickets. I bet no, but a lot of tickets.
Okay, the next question should be mine, and that's: will the player level cap be raised above level 100?
Yes.
Will we get legendaries on level 150 and whatever we will end up to?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
But yeah, it is definitely going to be raised above 100.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
All right.
There you go, a straight answer for you.
That's a straight answer, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, there you go.
Mr.
I mean, it's hard not to like
spitting
that.
truth.
I do know one person who doesn't like that because they finally hit level 100 and now they got to go past it.
What's like we all start at level 100 and the games we played before won't be like count into it, like you don't jump to level 200 immediately because you played like 40,000 games. or
No,
something like
no.
that, right? Okay.
Everyone have to work up from 100.
Okay.
Lehman Russ, I forget his numbers, will not enjoy that.
Poor guy.
So many hours.
A better system for filtering cards out during deck building and looking at the collection would be really handy, such as being able to filter more than one thing out at a time. Is that something we could ever look forward to?
We're having a look at a way to do that. It's worth saying, because we still get a few support tickets through that. Some players don't know if you tap on the search box, it opens up a list of filters automatically, via crate, rarity, or what expansion they were from. So I just take a chance to remind people that they can do that themselves, but we're looking at a way to sort of do multi-filtering as well.
I haven't experimented with it like hardly at all, but I know that you can select your deck and like kind of classify it within the classic, heavy, elite, troop, the icons that the game uses. And I think I saw something that you can actually do that with cards too. Is that correct?
If I think what you're saying is right, I believe you can still do that. It did get a bit revamped when we put in how you can search via expansions. So I'm not sure if that is still a thing anymore. I'd have to check.
Okay, all right. So that might be good to know, or have, even if there's just some sort of tutorial to kind of like, hey, take a look at the filter option. It's an option.
I think it's also mentioned in the FAQ on the support section of the app itself, just in case people want to rehash it.
For people who haven't checked out that FAQ, some parts of it may be dated, like what traits are currently in the game. Last time I checked, it was lacking a few.
Yes, it is getting updated.
Okay, lovely. It has stuff like drop percentages and stuff. That's just good information. You should check out. If you're new, it's good. I may not be asking the funny questions, but I love the snarky answers in some of these, by the way. Will we see more tags and sub-factions such as Cultists and Solar Auxilla in the future? Maybe something for the Mechanicum? Will it be possible that demons will get a similar tag based on what god they represent?
At the minute, we don't feel the ones past what we have with the Cultists and Solar Auxilia are too necessary. In regards to the demons, canonically in the Horus Heresy, they all work together anyway. So is there really a need to separate them via their god? Down the line, when we maybe release more demon cards, then they may be separated to a card that buffs Nurgle demons, for example. But at the minute, there's no plans for that now.
All right.
Does Everguild routinely review the community channels, such as feedback and balance, and do you receive the players' messages of appreciation?
We do, yeah, we do. It's nice to get sort of nice feedback from you guys, even if you don't think we see it. I have Discord up quite regular, either chatting to content creators or the mods or tournament organisers. We do keep an eye on it, and some of the other members of the dev team are also in the Discord as well, even though you might not know it. But they do, we do see sort of nice messages and whatnot. And they are
sneaky bastards.
Of course, we're players at heart as well, at the end of the day. And we like to see what you guys are getting up to.
Sometimes that's good. I don't know.
I don't know. If you've seen the server, I don't know what you guys are just thinking. Letting us do what we do.
Since you said you are players as well, like an odd question, but what is the highest rating of the team? Like, who...
I actually don't know. I'm just under High Terror at the minute.
You should get.
With this information, if we run enough numbers, we can eventually find him.
Everguild.
I'm at like 3,400, I think, running a Fulgrim deck at the minute.
All right, folks at home, please find Mr. Everguild.
I think,
but no, I'm not sure what the other members of the team are. We might have told like an in-game, in company tournament.
You guys should just have an in-game lodge.
Yeah, we could do, yeah. Yeah, that's an idea. They might have one and just they don't tell me.
Oh, see,
I know.
you're the
That
new
would be
guy,
pretty
so that's you got to find them.
But yeah, no, I think one of the other questions is, do people in Everguild play Horus Heresy Legions? Yes, we do. A significant portion of the team plays it.
All right. Well, that is the questions that were asked by multiple players across all the various social media platforms. We've got a lot of questions here from individual players. I'm going to start off with a question from the Knights on Discord. Will event warlords ever be in-game warlords?
Yes.
A question that those
It ties
already
in
happened.
to questions we've already asked, but
Yes. So yes, they will be. Yeah. One coming. Actually, no, two coming sooner than you might think. But I'm not telling you which two.
Ooh.
Mr. Everguild betraying our trust yet again.
No, I can't tell. You might see them if you keep an eye on the reveals that are coming up in the next week or so.
This next name hurts me because I can barely pronounce English. Corville? Yeah. What was the reason for the long absence of EG? And what will they say towards the accusations that the game is dead? I'm going to say right now, there's no proof the game is dead.
Now, due to the long absence, we actually didn't hear the accusations, so, it's a catch-22. No, on a serious note, player stats, from what we can see on our end, the game is still popular, it's still growing to a degree, so it's not a concern. We've been focusing on the game in regards to new expansions and reworks.
One of the biggest issues with people looking at statistics is they look at the Steam metrics. I don't know about you, I've only ever played this game on mobile.
Same. Yeah.
Mobile
I play it on Steam, but not anywhere near the percentage I play it mobile.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Steam tracks it when you've been playing it on your mobile and then on Steam, or how we track it on our system as well. I think it's just down to the actual accounts themselves that registered to logging in on that one day. But yeah, no, it's not a concern that the game is anywhere close to on its last legs. They wouldn't have hired somebody to keep working on it if that was the case.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question is from Erebus Le Garçure. Is a new 40k card game in development?
I can't say. Don't try and get anything else out of me. I can't say.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. That's a Games Workshop. We'll be bringing us up.
Mr. Everguild, I have a new deal we got here. I'll tell you how the data mining works if you tell me it's in the game. Balance your options, Mr. Everguild. Balance them wisely.
All right. Well, this question comes from Johnny Quest. Not the cartoon character, but an actual player.
Oh god, that was flashbacks to my childhood.
Yeah.
Hit me like a fucking brick train.
Dun 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 dun. Is there going to be an actual raid event for the current expansion?
No, not the current expansion.
All right, that is surprising, but at the same time, where we're at when this episode airs,
There'll be another one.
The Galaxy and Flames expansion is coming in. It's coming in hot.
Yes, very, very hot. No, not in the current one. No.
Right.
Scarf, you lied to me. You told me to preserve tickets for the next raid event.
Shift all those tickets to Galaxy and Flames,
saving
baby.
them.
Yeah.
Keep saving them.
Trusting Scuff was your first mistake.
I know. There's a reason why I left the lodge, for 6 weeks.
Oh, it was a betrayal you felt.
Drama alert.
Had
here's
nothing
a
to do with Lodge Wars. Nothing at all.
No, nothing.
Yeah, not at all. Now, here's a question I like simply because it brings in my favorite boys. But the first part is, would EG be willing to adapt the game to another language if I helped with translation? Also, I'd like them to add Terminator troops, the Sons of Horus, Word Bearers, and Salamanders. Yeah, where's my Word Bearer troop? I know they have none in lore, like they have
It's
no
weird.
special
They should
ones,
do.
or they are they?
They should have a Terminator troop. I don't know why they don't, but yeah, some of the new cards that are being released are Terminator based.
My question is, where are the Salamander ones? Because you guys use the Fire Drakes, which are the Salamanders on the table.
They might be. They might be.
The
I
Fire
can't
Drakes
say.
are the Terminators on the tabletop, but they're in game not as Terminators. You
I
break
know,
my heart, Mr. Everguild. You break my heart.
I know. They maybe took the Terminator armor off because for whatever reason. Some Terminator
this is
troops
the
are
canon.
coming. Yeah. On the translate, we'd love to, and Farius, who asked the question, we really appreciate the offer. But due to the game changing so much, balance patches, this, that, and the other, we can't sort of rely on players to do that for us. We have in-house sort of translation as well, but we appreciate the offer. It's not something we can rely on players to help with, if that makes sense.
Okay, next one is my guy, Toxic Bull. He has 3 questions, and I will ask him all 3. So, when will developers keep their word and finally add Dark Angels to the Imperium Secundus card?
I've passed on the feedback.
Okay, is spectator mode still not a priority?
No, not at the moment. We had a little dabble with it, and it'll be very, very difficult to implement. So not at the moment, no.
Okay, and his last question was, what kind of tournament does Everguild prefer more?
The larger the better. You know, we want a higher participation. That's why we have changed up some of the rewards for the tournaments, which we can discuss later on the podcast if you'd like.
Sure.
Yeah, we've changed up the tier list. Well, we've introduced a tier list, should I say, for how tournaments work and how the prizes work. So the bigger the tournament, the higher prize pool. So the larger the better. You know, tournaments that allow new players to get involved, like the one recently done based off like non-meta warlords, for example.
Or the Soul tournament, which was also, I think, a pretty good success.
Yeah.
I was a bit surprised that so many people wanted to play a certain Soul. No, it was it Soul or was it?
It was Loken, wasn't it?
Loken, yeah.
It was Loken. That was brilliant. So I think more tournaments like that, which allow new players to get involved. So I think the winner of that one was a player that I haven't actually seen before. I can't remember their name, but I couldn't remember seeing them on tournament winners before. So yeah,
Nice.
more like that are great.
Okay.
If you want, we can talk about the new tournament rewards now, just so we don't forget about it down the road, because I think that's something
sure.
good to break out.
Okay, yeah.
So the tournament tier list. Now this is, we can still tweak this if needs be, but we are thinking of introducing this. So if you have less than 8 players, the coin pool is lower than what it is at the moment. Let me just bring it
At
up.
the moment, it's 3,000 gold
Yeah.
and 1 legendary of choice for
Yeah.
the first prize. That will change to 1,000 gold and
2,000 coins it should be.
2,000. Okay.
Yes, it's like 2,000 for less than 8 on 1 legendary.
Okay.
Second place is 1,500 coins, and that's it.
Yeah, and third will receive nothing. But
Yeah,
then we go to like the normal size tournaments, like we always have 8 to 16. That's like the standard size we have at the moment. That's 2,500 gold plus legendary for the first, 2,000 for the second, 1,000 for the third, and 500 for the fourth. That's actually a bit less than we had before. But I think it's still fine, and most people are aiming for the legendary of choice anyways. But the really good thing starts with like bigger tournaments, like 16 or more. I think, Oliver, do you want to announce it?
Yes, so 16 to 32 roughly. 3,000 coins and 1 legendary for first place. Second place 2,500. Third place 1,500. Fourth place 1,000. So that's been changed slightly. 32 to 46 players. That will be getting 5,000 coins and 1 legendary. Second place will get 4,000. Third place 3,000. Fourth place 1,500. And then if you guys can manage to get a tournament with 64 players plus, this is very much open to even extra rewards as well, but we'll be granting 7,000 coins, 1 legendary. Second place 6,000. Third place 4,000. Fourth place 2,000. Fifth place 1,500. And sixth place 1,000 coins. But you know, for the large tournaments, we can do custom type rewards for that type of stuff.
Now, just a quick follow-up question I've got on that is are we talking single placement? Like, we're not talking team tournaments,
No,
correct?
that's
Single
like
place.
for the weekly and the midweek tournament,
all
like
right.
for those kind of tournaments. Also, what we are planning to do as a tournament organizers is like we want to have like a small like talk after the tournaments with feedback and stuff like that. Maybe talk about games, maybe air it out. And Oliver told me that we might get some promo codes like to give out. Like I don't know how
Yeah.
many, and I don't know like what we or how we will decide to give them out, like what you have to achieve, like is it like sportsmanship or whatever. That's something we still have to discuss. But yes, there's like we want to build something around CZ tournaments so that it's more like playing 5 games. Also like having the players who win the tournaments maybe share their decks, share their like ideas and how they made it work. So to get it like to build the community a bit better.
Yeah, I mean, we'll leave it to the tournament organizers. You know, the player-built events. We don't want to come around and tell you how to do what you've been doing really well already. We just wanted there to support the tournament organisers and the players of the tournament as well.
Well, and it might be a topic for later discussion sometime, Terz, but I mean, especially for just when I hear those numbers as far as like large turnout tournaments, I'm thinking, qualifiers, regionals, world championship type stuff, and that might facilitate having or figuring out some way to do like a tournament season from January through December or from July through June. And then somehow have, player ranking tracked and scored, or have players qualify to play at big league tournaments. I don't know. I'm just comparing to other card games and other major circuits. That might be something to really garner interest if things begin to really pick up.
Yeah, I think at the moment we don't have.
Got to start small.
Yeah. We want to have, like, there are like some guys who are really passionate about the tournaments and who show up pretty regular, but I also think that a lot of people are not aware of tournaments at all. So that's also something that is coming, like in-game announcements.
Yes,
for
it is.
tournaments.
Yeah.
How dare you spoil the questions before we get answered?
Well, I mean, we'll touch it because we're talking about tournaments. But yeah, one of the questions was that yes, we will be starting to announce the tournaments in-game as well. VK, Discord, and Reddit as well.
Hopefully with people tuning in to, the game, getting the in-game announcements, checking out this Q&A, hearing this news here, players who might not normally, circulate the social media platforms, and maybe work with whatever else might get announced, maybe, other adverts or whatnot that Everguild does, that might help spread the hype that tournaments do exist, that is an option. And it's really enjoyable for everybody who takes part in that. It's a great way to get prizes. As you've heard here, there's a decent amount of gold at stake.
I was going to say, when you look at that gold, divide it by 100 real quick, and that's how much dollars you're essentially winning. That's a lot of free money. There's nothing to lose by just going in. I suck, and I still come back with like 1,000 gold occasionally.
And I mean, like, you don't win a lot of tournaments as an individual player. That's for sure. Like, there are like 20 players, so the chance of you winning is 5% in the end. But you can beat the best player in a tournament because it's like a series of one. If you like play on ladder, you probably won't beat like the reigning War Master in 100 matches more than 5 times or 10 times if you're like a low terror player. But in a tournament, like, you can have the one game you win and he is out. It doesn't matter what his rank is. We have seen people aren't high on ladder winning tournaments, and also we have like some tournaments every month who are adjusted to newer players or to restrict card pool for like really good players, so that the chances are a bit better for newer players, so that they have a chance to win those cards as well. And for the like top players, it's also a challenge. They really enjoy it, like having less access to the card pool, because they know the equally skilled players also lack the access to like the majority of cards, and the players that are not very known or are new to the game can like build whatever they want, and it's really interesting for them.
So I think
what I heard.
The takeaway is that just get involved in them. There's really nothing to lose.
Yeah, we've got multiple episodes covering tournaments, tournament series, the World Cup, as well as just the Barnight Legions and a couple other tournaments that we've had on the podcast. If you want to take a look back, starting at episode 7, we talked with a couple tournament organizers and just kind of going in from there throughout the time. It's always something that we talk about here. So if that is something you're interested in, check it out.
So,
all right, getting back to the questions at hand. Shadlin asks a couple questions here. A couple short answers I think we've got. Is there potential for a Tavern Brawl style game mode where unique game rules and formats exist or are rotated out weekly?
Yeah, we may introduce some of these ideas into the normal event to provide a bit of variety, rather than creating a separate event mode for it.
All right.
So we may take some ideas and incorporate them, but probably not making a completely separate game mode.
And will some warlords be moved to more fitting factions, such as Lotara to the World Eaters?
I love this answer.
Canis Vertex to the Thousand Suns?
No. They're fine where they are. They don't need to be moved.
I mean, I'm hearing that you really want to put Canis Vertex in the Southern Zone.
No.
Or at least get
No.
Kelber Hall to the Iron Hands. Just think
No.
about it.
No, I don't want to even think about it.
I've seen it happen. It was scary.
I wrote no like 3 times on this question. just to let you know.
If he could underline it, he would have.
Hang on, I can do that now. There
Okay,
you go.
he has underlined it.
Yeah, so that's a no to that one.
Folks at home, what he's hearing is you're not asking hard enough. I guess I'll take these next question here from Primordial Truce. Will some legions totally change mechanics to represent going through the years, etc.? Like Fulgrim with the Lair Blade, Karn getting Chaos juiced up.
Juice!
Taking the
Scott.
views, man.
It's a interesting way to put it. Yeah, some cards may go along with that, to represent any sort of design changes, but not a redesign of entire decks, for example. So yeah, some cards will be changed to reflect going through the years, I suppose.
Okay, the next question is from Iron Duke. Will the long-promised customizable Warlord heads be the faction-themed, or will we be able to mix and match them?
We're still trying to get them in Primax size, so we're just waiting on that one.
All right, we've got a few questions here from Lamia. When will Horus on the main screen match the picture that's on the card?
I just put down for this one, computer says no. But seriously, it's on the list. It's not a massive priority at the minute, but it's on the list of sort of minor things to change.
All right, and then I think kind of similar to that is when the commanders are in their reincarnation, I believe that's Whispers or Reckoning form, whatever, and will that be displayed in the collection when you're viewing their dialogues? Right now it currently displays just their Reckoning Whispers card.
It's unlikely to happen, to be honest with you. I've passed it on to the team, which will go onto the ever-extending list of things to change. It's unlikely to happen anytime soon.
All right. And are there going to be any improvements to the player's profile?
We'd love to. I think it'd be a really nice idea to add a bit more statistics to it, but it's not a priority at the minute.
And one last one. Will the animation or voice of the cards be added during the draw?
No, that's to keep the game size from growing even more. So what I was touching on earlier, we don't want the game to rocket in size by for adding new features that won't necessarily improve the game. So no, not at the minute.
All right. There's a bunch of questions from Aleph here.
I was about to say, Scuff. I know we're reading them each, but you're about to hand me 17 fucking questions.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to rotate these.
I mean, I start? All right, I'll do the first 6. Previously, the prospect of final Astartes Legions being released provided direction, hype, and anticipation within the HHL gaming community. Now that all the Astartes Legions are released, will EG be taking a more hands-on approach to future game teasers and details that players find juicy?
Juice!
And create community buzz.
That's why I'm here. Literally, that's why I was hired. We have really big plans. It touches on one of the earlier questions in regards to what's the future of it. We've got really big plans we can't discuss in detail. But in regards to community buzz, that type of stuff, and sort of engaging the community, that's what I'm here for. And you'll be seeing a ramping up of community activities and sort of outreach in the coming weeks.
Then I'll get the next one here. The campaigns are a fantastic addition for multiple reasons, including for giving lore background in the legions, characters, conflicts, and universe. Has Games Workshop allowed EG to include more lore snippets in the game? It may help the game setting make more sense for users whose first contact with the Horus Heresy is HHL.
Yeah, they have. They've been, like I mentioned earlier, Games Workshop have been really, really good with what they've allowed us to do in regards to sort of lore snippets and certain bits and pieces. So, yeah, they've been really good.
All right, perfect. On to the next. Currently, are there EG staff actively playing Horus Heresy Legions?
Now, I love your answer here, but the answer is yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes. A good portion of the team play. I'm not sure exactly how many people, but yes, we do play it. I play test it quite regularly on sort of the beta version that we've got, but then I also play for myself as well, and I know a few of the members of the team do.
All right, perfect. What are the impact on HHL user demographic numbers?
Have the player numbers gone up since you've added more translations to certain languages?
We've had varied success depending on the area. Pulling the exact numbers is a pain in the backside, but yeah, we've had varied success when it comes to language support for different areas.
I'm hearing that maybe North Korea went up in player count.
I can't say.
All right, then the next one here was alt art deck sales. Will characters who already have an alt art be getting more options? For example, will we be able to one day purchase Alfarius, head of the Hydra Art Alfarius?
All I can say is I am Alfarius.
I dislike
Valid
secrecy.
response. Valid response.
Thank you.
What are some storylines you are planning to still cover? Horus versus the Emperor, the Scouring, the Iron Cage, Gilman breaking of the Legions in chapters.
Those aren't Horus Heresy, so that would be hard to convince Games Workshop.
I mean, it depends what they'll allow us to. I mean, they're close enough that they might be able to be classed as sort of afterwards, maybe. We don't know yet. We haven't got to that sort of point where we need to be asking those questions.
That answer was the equivalent of, we'll see what Games Workshop says.
Yeah, and depends on the success of the game. So, if you want us to get there, keep buying stuff.
Give them money. Yeah.
About the money, I think this is really Scuff's question, but I will ask it anyways. Are there any plans for purchasing additional deck slots using money or gems?
Yeah, Scuff, how much would you pay for a deck slot?
Well, I mean,
Oh,
first off,
he's already offered his body.
yeah, this actually wasn't my question. My question is similar, but I have oodles of gems to give for
And
slots.
his body.
Slots for days.
We can look into it for you, Scuff.
I will do it for the community. I will
Just for you, not for
that's-
anyone else.
That's it.
Like for every podcast episode Scuff hosts, he gets an additional deck slot. I think that should work.
It's only going to be for you. Nobody else gets additional deck slots.
That's okay.
Fair enough. Does Everguild plan to collaborate more with the community prominent content creators like Scuff D or Physics Teacher in the future?
I don't know who either of those people are, so...
Yes, the only real streamer is Mr. Midnight.
Yes, definitely we will be doing that. That's sort of one of my roles, is to collaborate more with people. Like I said, we'll be reaching out to the existing content creators, the people who've been following the game for a long time now. And we'll also be reaching out to some of the bigger YouTubers to just basically extend the reach.
Now, just a quick follow-up there. You do want to make sure that they know who Everguild is, right?
Oh, man.
That
Now,
was
Mr. Everguild, tell me you're fully aware of what we're referencing.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
It's a-
I can't blame you, but...
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say.
sweep that under the sofa.
I think that's fair though, because I mean, there's some big there's some big Warhammer 40k content creators out there of all ilks and shapes, whether it's the tabletop, it's the lore, or whatnot, that are going to get 100 times more views than our best. And our best is either Skypoint or Vapix that have got the most subs that are actively putting out stuff. And I mean, even if you get 1% of those players or those viewers to look into the game, that's way more than you would get with Legions. So I mean, I'm all for it. The more players we get, the better.
I honestly think it was a good idea. The issue was only that I think Valder wasn't as prepared as he should have been, and that he went into the trolls.
That's fair. Yeah.
Touching on what you were saying, so far, this isn't a case of us going to the big YouTubers, throwing money at them, and ignoring you guys.
Right.
It's completely separate, sort of what it is. So, the big YouTubers, for example, we go into, the ones 100k, 150, 200k subscribers. They will be essentially funneling players to the game. And in the game, we're going to be doing more in-game announcements. Maybe we might be doing a sort of a content creator spotlight featuring game. So it's directly going to benefit both the current content creators, the tournament, and the game itself. So I don't think people need to be worried that we're going to disregard, our current content creators, because you guys, you cover it on a day-to-day basis. You're a massive integral part of the game, and we don't want to make you guys feel like we're not paying attention to you, because we do very much appreciate the work and effort you put in. So view it as a good thing that we're going to be approaching these, macro YouTube channels, because at the end of the day, any players they can bring in, it's good for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. That's the way I feel. I mean, we may not, but it is about a bigger audience, a much bigger audience, and getting people into the game. And the more players we have of the game, the bigger the game gets, the more the game continues, and so on and so forth. So I definitely see it as a positive.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, next question. In upcoming expansions, will old factions get new mechanic keywords?
Yes, they will. Base, I can't really mention at the minute, but keep an eye on the releases that are coming out this week, and you might see something about it.
What is your most memorable moment from your work in Horus Heresy Legions?
Speaking to you guys right now.
Nice.
All right.
No, really.
I assume you're new.
Very, very, very new. So
No, I mean, this is something new that Everguild hasn't done before.
This is true.
In this format, anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a big thing. And, we want to make sure the community feels heard. Because, it's very easy for us to, put our head down in the on our computers and we just crank out the work. And that's it. And it can get quite consuming. You log in, you add in a new expansion, and that's it. You don't look at, Discord or anything else. So we want to make sure you guys feel heard, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, is to, be a sort of a liaison between content creators, mods, tournament organizers, and an outreach as well.
And the last question from me, what are some of the hardest parts of working on Horus Heresy Legions or its design?
The balance and balancing the balance with people's expectations. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's for the programs and the designers themselves to do. I mean, they've got my job's easy compared to theirs. That's a very difficult part of the game, is making sure it sort of ties into the next question, which we can sort of cover off.
Yeah, when you design a new Legion faction, what are some of the main priorities and worries?
Yeah, it's capturing the feel of the Legion is probably the best way to put it. Imperial Fist being an example, they have walls, they have turrets. That's Imperial Fist, they have fortifications. I think we captured Imperial Fist really well, regardless of your thoughts on turrets. I think we captured it really, really well. It's also making them fun to play as well. We try and make it so Legions have multiple deck options, which is something we're going to be addressing in this expansion as well, to increase the options that each Legion has in regards to what type of deck they field.
All right. What does Everguild think it takes from a player to come out on top of a ranked season? Is it skill with a single warlord, adapting to the meta and skill with multiple warlords, love of the game, creating new decks nobody's ever seen before?
Yeah, it's none of us, I have to say, are, super high terror type warlords. So
okay, I saw you were gonna say, none of those we think about.
we don't care about. No, none of us are as good as the top 50, for example, the top 100. Asking us for it's like asking the person who designed tennis how to be the best tennis player. It doesn't really go across right. I mean, what we see is the warlords that tend to do well are the ones that experiment with things. So, Shabrandar, for example, he's had a resurgence over the past sort of couple of months or so, as people have been playing with him. The Thousand Suns, a Siren Dreadnought with bouncing spells back. I saw one, it was the Psychic Lash and Balakuthazar, I think it was, bouncing that back and forth.
The Siren Dreadnought was great, because that was a bug I had originally found, because it fucking caused a, what's the term? Desync error every time you'd do it.
There was another one where people were using Balakuthazar or something else to bounce it back. I mean, the game took forever to kill you, but yeah, that was one. Favor of Khorne is probably a very good example as well of people creating new decks people haven't seen before. Cypher Favor of Khorne, for example.
KFC.
Yeah.
Yes.
KFC.
Yeah.
Khorne's favorite cheese, but that's okay. Which named characters are you planning to still make an appearance in the game? John Grammaticus? Any Thunder Warriors? Anything from the Terran Underbelly?
I can't say. You will be seeing some familiar faces down the line. Whether it's any of those, I can't say. But yeah, there'll be some more. There'll be some familiar warlords that we're going to be digging out of their graves.
Wasn't Grammaticus in the game once, like as an?
No, that's Oleanus Pius.
Ollie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ollie. Yeah. Okay.
He was a fun one.
I like how you use the term "digging out of the grave." How would you describe the culture and attitude amongst Everguild workers?
As I've found, everybody plays the guitar, aside from me.
Huh.
It's bizarre. The entire team plays the guitar. And it's a bit of an odd one. I don't play it, and I feel a bit out of it.
Do you play bass?
I don't play anything.
Oh, you got to be the singer now. That's it. You're the lead.
No, yeah,
You get bullied.
definitely. I see myself as like an Adele, personally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we love the coffee machine and the work the coffee machine does.
I mean, that's all that matters. The coffee machine is putting in work for everyone else.
That's the only thing that matters. That's what keeps us going.
All right. Baby Hippo asks, what does Everguild plan to do about the developing power creep we are seeing, especially in some of the leaked cards? Will they need to keep releasing stronger and stronger cards, or nerf OP ones right after they release?
So we can't comment directly on leaks themselves. It's just worth saying. We can't predict everything. The game, we do playtest the game. We can't predict everything that happens, though. it's an ongoing sort of evolution of the game, and it's not always a power creep if you think about it. Remember Blood Angel's been released. They were underpowered, if anything. They were buffed, I think, within the first 2 weeks of being released.
Yeah.
So I think people forget things like that have happened. So, if something is underpowered, like the Blood Angels were, we try and rectify that immediately.
There are 1 times ticket runs and 10 times ticket runs for the event mode. Can we get a 5 times ticket run?
No.
Real quick?
Because then we might as well have 4 times or 3 times or 7 times. So.
I mean, that's what you do. You get the halfway point, and then you go the halfway of the halfway point. You just keep,
Yeah.
And then you have 1 through 10.
1.5 ticket runs.
And no, we're not doing 100 ticket runs either.
Why? I have seen people with like 500 tickets, and if
No.
we get some raid event again,
No.
those guys could play like 5 events.
Could you
runs
imagine? They'd be opening crates forever.
Yeah.
Oh, I think my complaint has finally been rectified before I can complain about it.
Go good.
Do you plan to update the YouTube icon for the game itself at some point? Right now, it's just a general gray icon.
I think it's a Space Wolf, if I remember rightly, but we will be updating it anyway.
Now, my complaint originally was it took, I didn't notice when, but at least 2 months after the Iron Hand update, the website was still 2 updates behind on them.
Yeah, it's something we need to go back. It's a small-ish thing, but yeah, we need to make sure they've all got the same icon, which we will be doing.
Well, I'm just seeing a gray icon on YouTube on my end. Like if I share, well, not when if I share every video I do, it asks like what game, what category it's for. It's for a game. What game is it for? It's Horus Heresy Legions 2018, which is the only Horus Heresy Legions out there. And then when you look at the comments on my videos, it just is a gray controller icon. That's it. It doesn't show the picture of the game. So I think that's what they're kind of referencing with that question.
Right? Yeah, we'll look into that.
All right, and for the last one, could you just limit taunts to 3 per turn? It's annoying to have some random opponent spam 10 taunts in 1 turn.
You can just mute them.
Yeah.
And
There's
this
a
is the
mute
top answer. Like,
Yeah,
just mute them.
There you go.
It's the issue when they slow play as well, that's the problem. But just the taunts, you can mute that.
There's a slow play. We brought in things to sort of limit that. We brought in the turn limiter that counts down and impacts on their next turn, how long they can wait. There's only so much we can do.
Yeah, but you
regards to
can
that.
do so much in the meantime. Like, you can pet your dog, you can go take a piss, make some
You say that.
coffee.
There's a user in this question list who I will not name who plays slow intentionally in the hopes that real-life issues get in the way, so you stop playing.
Tactical.
Yeah. If that's what you want to call it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some known players who are not known for being very fast. So
There's
maybe
a
force
lot
them
of
to play something like Khan, so you just have to play 5 turns or something like that. Okay, next question. Patient Zero. Any ideas of doing balance testing with the community involved?
Well, I think we got that answer already.
Yeah, probably not, just because of the divide it might make in the community. In the future, if the game grows enough, the community grows, we might set up a playtesting sort of team, I suppose, but I can't give you a concrete answer. Probably no for the time being.
Okay. And can we have the option to reset deck stats and not have a stat per warlord? Like, as to try new deck ideas and see how they perform, for example, Burn Horrors versus Troop Horrors?
We could do. It's not a priority at the minute, though. It's something that we could probably do, but it's down the priority list.
Makes sense.
All right. D2WD wants to know, how do the devs see the use of third-party software? Is there such things as quality of life add-ons, deck list overlays like the Hearthstone deck tracker? If you approve of such programs, what way do you want players to use it or to get in-game data besides reading the screen info?
Go on.
I read part of this question. Tell me you've seen the one-word comments occasionally on the Discord of just a 3-letter word, and that's all they put.
API.
API?
Yeah, we are keen to do something with it. It's ongoing. It's a bit more technical than it sort of might seem to start with, but yeah, it's something that we are working on, and we are keen to do it.
Will neutrals gain their own hard removals?
Hard no.
To be fair, we almost got the
hard
poison
no.
No, it's a hard no. I mean, they have some.
They have delayed removal. Delayed removal is
I mean,
fine.
they've got Melter Bomb and they've got Urtzi, I suppose, but beyond them, no.
Then I have an update for Melta Bomb. Could it work on Cassian, Shapura, and any other warlord?
Could you imagine the terror?
Just for a day. Just for a day. Please.
Then people would say make crack grenade work.
Mr. Everguild, I will tell you how Ancient Parrot does the data mining.
Welcome to the episode of the podcast where Axel just tries to bribe the devs into doing stupid shit.
Keep trying.
No Titan events for 646 days.
He's at 671, by the way.
Ah, okay.
671. Okay, yeah. Will Everguild plan to add more emotes to the Discord?
I guess I can look into that myself. Yeah, I'll speak to the mods about it. See what they think.
Yeah, we don't have a Bastion emote. I would like that.
Oh no, people hate it.
I hope you
want
enjoy
a
that guy's
Scuffy
name.
emote. Like every time I can ask for deck slots, I want to spam the Scuffy emote. The juice emote.
That's right. Get a juice. I'm just using the generic orange that Discord provides, but I've created my own GIF, so it's hot. Fellerin asks, are you happy that High Terra players with bots turned on can play 18% of their ranked matches against bots? Everybody can beat bots more than 90% of the time, and most players with most warlords can beat them 95% of the time. 100% of the time, it works 50% of the time. Wouldn't it make more sense to allow High Terra players to match further down into Low Terra? Some might find it unfair, but isn't beating bots with a greater than 95% win rate even more unfair?
I want to throw something in right now to Valorant. Like, I think this main issue is that bots don't react to slow play, so that's the biggest issue. But
and the user I called out. has
Shots
already been.
fired.
I want to know where he's getting the stats from. To be honest with you,
Well,
there's not. I
literally none.
know. We try to strike a balance between it. We don't want to be putting High Terra players against, the top 50 players, for example. We don't want to be putting them against people with 3,000 rating because it'd just be a bit of a curb stomp.
I'm gonna be honest right now. The current system's pretty good.
Yeah. We think the current system how it works is the best balance we can make. Take the free wins against the bots.
they are not as free as you think.
No, I know they're not now.
I've had my ass handed to me by a player, and then I realized it was a bot, and I felt sad.
I'm sorry.
So, no, I'm blaming you, Mr.
No,
Everguild.
I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all.
No, my heart's broken. This guy's name, we're just gonna go out here, was Uwu. Uwu. Will Command Bridge ever be nerfed? Will it permanently exist as a mandatory card in every optimized list for as long as the game continues? You don't need it in every deck. If you're running 100% troops, what the fuck are you doing with Command Bridge?
I agree. This one's more of a complaint than a question. No, I don't think it's mandatory in every deck. I don't run it in most of my decks, and I'm doing pretty well near High Terra, so...
That's what he wants us to believe.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem.
Okay, the next question is from Lucarian Ape. Are there any plans in the future to expand the size of lodges or incentives more contributions to a lodge?
Not sure to expanding the size of them. I think that's more of a system thing than anything else. Definitely to the second. We are wanting to do more with lodges. For example, if we get a bunch of new players to the game and they all join and make a lodge straight away, if we can sort of incentivize that to a degree. But yeah, we are looking at ways to incentivize lodge engagement.
Jay Thrills, who was just on the podcast a couple episodes ago, asks, I would love to be able to see my opponent's deck after the game is complete.
No.
Okay. The other question that he asks here is, the artifacts that you draft during the campaign, is there any way to implement those into constructed practice or ladder play?
Could you imagine it?
I could.
Now,
I would love to.
Mr. Everguild.
It would. No, it's not happening. It'd be
Mr.
carnage. No,
Please.
I'd be swamped with spot tickets of people saying it's broken.
Well, I mean, to add on to
no,
that, I pitched the idea before, maybe not necessarily using the artifacts, like start with -1 energy, your opponent starts with -1 energy, your troops cost. But if there was a battle standard concept, a card that was kind of like a Night House pilot, like you just have to include it. It's an optional thing. It doesn't count against the card count for your deck, but it gave you a change to your starting, your starting components. Maybe your warlord starts with +5 health, but has low initiative, or like 1 degree lower initiative, or starts with an additional card, but you are -5 health, or gains survivor 2, like something like that, just to allow for deck construct, or like you can include 2 cards from X faction, something to branch out further than that. That could be interesting without necessarily breaking the game in the way energy manipulation can.
It's something we could look at down the line. we've got no plans for it at the moment.
That's fine.
But yeah, it's a good idea. Maybe sort of in the next. This is a big maybe. Maybe in the next expansion, after we've released a couple more mechanics, maybe we can look at something like that. It's a solid idea.
Yeah,
I think it makes the game a bit more complicated. Like, you have like so many more options. Like the matchups change a lot, and I think it's something for like high skilled players, like the top 100, top 200, who can really profit from it. But I think it would feel very random for newer players. Like it would be too much to consider, probably.
Yeah, at the gate, it definitely would. It's it's just an idea.
But yeah, no, it's a decent idea. Yeah.
Would you consider implementing a system where players could open multiple crates at once? If someone wants to open a large amount of crates, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, we would, but the system would have a bit of difficulty doing that. It'd also be a case of, we've seen this before, but people already send us it in anyway, but like people will open 10 crates and some of the cards they will forget what they've gotten, and they'll go have a look in the collection, they won't be able to see what they've gotten, so they will email us to check for them. I think if people are opening 10 crates at a time, it'd just create more of those types of questions. We can answer the questions, but it takes time going into people's accounts, seeing what items have been granted, making a list of it, etc.
So this is a quality of life improvement for Everguild.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more for us than you guys.
Okay, the next one is Turberus. Okay, can we have an option to save to file and open from file replays as text file like Dex?
Yeah.
The only scripts and not actual video replays? Okay, I'm not quite sure what...
No, I see what it means. We can see how useful it'd be.
Oh, I know exactly what this means now.
We can see how useful it'd be. I think it'd be a bit too open to exploit in various ways. We are trying to think of an alternate approach to it.
I'm going to reword this question if I can, because I don't know if it's later in the document. Could there be a different... Is it any way possible to store replays of the different system? Because their current system is ingenious in how it's run, but the issue comes at any point there's a balance change. It breaks the thing. For those at home who don't know how replays work, that's not your match. That's two bots they've set to do the exact same things that will play the match. So if they rework a card, the game has a stroke.
I believe what Turbers is actually asking with this question was a way to get the battle log of the game as a text file, if that helps clarify.
I see. Okay, I see what his question is now.
Yeah. We will try and think of a way to implement something like that.
Yep.
Okay, then the next question he has is, can we have a timer for ranked seasons, just like for events?
Yeah, we will try to implement something like that. The system can do it. I've already checked that it can do it. They do run monthly, but obviously different time zones, that type of stuff. If you're battling for top 10 spaces, that might make the difference, knowing if there's an hour left or 10 hours left, for example.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yes, it's something we can try and implement. The system can do it. It's just getting around to implementing it.
And the last question is, can we have an option to create decks consisting of cards and warlords we don't own, including event warlords, just to be able to practice against such decks?
We really like this question. It's a really solid question. It makes sense. We will have to investigate how it could be done without giving people access to a completely different version of the game. We're trying to figure a way how to do it in the current game. But yeah, it's a really good question.
Well, some questions coming from the Facebook community that haven't already been asked in the earlier questions. One comes from Tomas Cifuentes Carrasco. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Tomas. Or Thomas. Are there any plans about the use of legendary points?
No, there isn't as of yet.
All right. Are there any options about crafting cards? This question gets asked every Q&A. I think it's fair to ask it again and just to emphasize the answer.
The bandage off.
No, there isn't. No, we think the current system reduces the frequency of sort of net decking, and it makes it more fun to think about what decks you can create while increasing the variety of decks you'll face in battle. So, still a no to crafting cards.
Then I'll take this next one. Please, Mr. Everguild. Will Ruinstorm be able to put Imperium and Mechanicum because they're not overpowered anymore?
No,
please.
No, it's fine. They don't need them. No, so it's a hard no to that one.
Okay, we are coming to some Reddit questions now from Iriam23. It would be awesome if there was like a separate type of battle where new players could actually practice and have vets play against them, but go easy and actually communicate feedback for them. Kind of like doing a practice match in a lodge. There could be some incentive for the vets to gain coin or gems or something only if they lose. That way folks don't just join to pawn some noobs. It would need an active chat function with some moderation and the ability to report trolls so they could just get banned from these practice matches.
That reads like it's from Reddit.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard the term pawn some noobs since I was playing like Counter-Strike 1.6. That's old school. Yeah, we are working, like I was saying earlier, on a mentor system to encourage veteran players to help newer ones. So yeah, do be expecting to see an update in the future about that.
All right, the Voidhawk84 asks, how are they going to determine the 5th Warlords being added to the game? Are we going to get a player vote?
You'll be able to vote in the events by winning. That'll be most likely how some Warlords will just be put in game naturally. Some will be winnable or accessible through events. That'll then be added to the collection.
Nikarov here asks, I like the campaign as a quick battle so I can squeeze them in when a standard battle would potentially take longer. Play Karn. Then I have, and I do hate quitting mid-game. Any chance of a reward when you complete the campaign mission after you've unlocked the card back? Even the equivalent of a free crate would be nice.
It's a no at the minute. The main focus of the campaigns was for new players. We're happy for veteran players to replay it and keep replaying it if they want, but they don't really get anything out of it. To a veteran player, it's not really a challenge. Once you've beaten it with the 30 HP Warlord or all the Warlords, for example, it's not really a challenge anymore. It's more for newer players to adjust to new Legion mechanics.
Okay, the next question is Dalim. How do they plan to release new crates going forward, given that all the possible factions are already in the game?
Yeah, we're working on that actually at the minute, so we'll communicate a bit more when the expansion comes out about how the crates will work.
All right, and that is, hopefully by the time that this episode airs, the answer will be quickly forthcoming, because that's only like 4 days away. We're excited for it. Yeah. Weak Ad 709 asks, for tracking event status, how about instead of a bar that is filled, an outline of a throne that is filled with skulls?
The thing is, if you do that, all the other, Zenchians, Nurglites, or Neshis will be upset as well. So we can't do that. And everyone else would be upset aside from the Khornates.
The Imperium would be outraged.
Oh, them too, yeah. The Imperium likes skulls.
The Imperium has a skull.
You have only for decoration. That's just for decoration.
Okay, servo skulls are more than decoration. They are a machine.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Are you considering doing something about the abundance of auto-include legendaries? Hearthstone never had that many.
Hearthstone had card combos that broke the game for months the minute it was added.
What is Hearthstone?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know. No, we're not going to do anything about the legendaries. We don't feel that they are auto-includes. You can make decks without the Crucial Choice, Kaiser Lane, Jubak. You can quite easily do that. So no, we don't see it as a problem at all. And we don't want to be. We're not Hearthstone. We don't want to copy what they're doing because we're a completely different game.
That's the true answer right there. That's the Chad answer. We're not Hearthstone. That's on the record.
Shut up, Dora. Shut up, Scott.
Next question is from Gracchus1330. Will we see a new edition set similar to the Magic the Gathering editions? Currently, we are seeing a card here and there from events and rolling balance changes, but will we see a new card set, like edition?
No plans as of yet to reset the card pool. We'll communicate in time, depending on how the game grows, if that's something we're going to do. But yeah, there's no plans for that as of yet.
All right. Abu Yaqub. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
That's an amazing name.
Yes. Well, I think he's got it spelled backwards and forwards, but then I look at the end of it and that's not the case. Some serious moderation of the world chat is needed, in my honest opinion. It's really disgusting to see some people wishing other players to die of COVID because they take more than 5 seconds to play their turn.
Yeah, feel free report. It does get checked. The report comes through to us every single day, and then we act very, very quickly on it. If someone is saying absolutely horrible things, you can submit a ticket. There isn't much point because we see the reported chats very, very quickly after they come in. So yeah, just report them and they'll get dealt with.
And worst case, there's a mute button. I've muted many people because they would just spam. They please use my referral link. Please, I beg you, use my referral link for like 30 minutes. Just block them.
Could they buff Ruinous Claim so that it removes Bastion, even though that's not what it does?
No, we're not. We're not going to buff it because I think it works fine. We're not just going to buff it to pick on one faction.
Yeah, the wording would have to be annoying, or you'd have to make it a jam, and no one wants to jam entire board and reduce everything to 1 HP. Please don't do that.
No,
Mr. Everguild, please.
Don't worry. No, Bastion's not classed as health, so it wouldn't affect it anyway, even if we didn't buff it. So no.
One thing I would add on there, I don't know if it's been looked at with regards to Ruinous Claim. Once units have had their health set to 1, if they receive a buff from other cards, it doesn't show as a buff health. It just shows that their health has been set to the next value. I don't know if that's something to pass on for them to look at, but I've come across that interaction.
I'll pass that on to the development team.
Oh, that's the catchphrase we wanted to hear, boys.
Strike it off on your bingo cards.
That's right.
Okay. Sandal Wood asks, could we get a separate leaderboard for individual warlords and factions?
No, we don't think it would. Considering the meta report comes out, I don't think it'd be that much use. We could do it. We just don't think it'd get that much use out of it for the time that we'd put into installing it, basically.
Well, that is the comprehensive list of questions submitted by the community from across all the platforms. But we're not done yet. I've got a couple questions.
Questions.
That's right. That's right. I've got a couple questions of my own, as well as we mentioned, we're going to be talking about spoilers and a little bit more details about this upcoming expansion that is dropping hot for this week. So I hate to Ryan Seacrest you all for just a little bit longer, but I'm going to. First off, just to start with a question that I always ask because I'm always curious about it. Is it possible to get some more bot warlords? And can we get maybe a bot named Saladmander?
Yeah, sure.
Such a good name.
Definitely, yeah. We will be adding some more bots. We tend to prioritize the warlord decks that the AI won't mess up. They're good in some cases. Sometimes they're not so good. Like Magnus decks, we won't be making bot Magnus decks because
I think you should improve the Angron Warlord.
No, it's fine. It's fine. He doesn't need the +1 attack.
Yeah,
and
right.
Can you teach the bots what Goldstone Hunter does? Like, could you
no.
just show them what it says on it, please?
I went against a bot actually that surprised me. The Golden Keshik, the White Scar 7/6, and it went down my board, keeping itself alive until it got to my strongest troop.
That's unbot-like.
Yeah, I know. I actually thought it was a player. So yeah, they are getting smarter. They are learning.
All right, another question I've got here
learning.
is now the new achievements. I really enjoyed those. I think a lot of people have their fun edition that we can collect. We got some badges to display on our profiles. But other than the original achievements, the players don't get any gold. They don't get any crates for getting those. They just kind of get the badge and a number beyond it. Is there any way to improve this?
No. It was aimed primarily at the veteran players, who already have 5,000 gold, for example. It's to provide a long-term alternate goal to show off about, pretty much, not to push players to chase them.
All right.
Giving you guys a crate for 100 gold when you've already got 7,000, for example, it's a bit pointless. It's more just something to show off about, like the secret achievements.
That's fair enough. Is there a way, talking about the player profile and the achievements, is there a way to get the days logged in and total ranked games played displayed again? That was something that was lost when we got those.
Yeah, we'll try to make that information visible again.
All right. One of the
Scott was keeping track of that.
I was. Well, me and Terperus, we like to compare. I think we were the two oldest. I know you played since beta, so you might be up there with us too.
Yeah, let me check when I made my count.
Longest days played.
Let's see.
If you beat Scuff, you're the new ancient.
You could be up there.
1,349 days.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what mine is anymore. So, can you find out?
I can.
Ooh,
1,316.
Oh, he got me by 40.
Yeah.
You're the new ancient of right.
All right, there you go. There you go. But it would be nice to share that again and flex.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
The big question the plug weekly, talk about deck slots on a routinely basis. I've made that my thing.
I keep asking for there to be less. Actually, could we ignore his next question?
Yes.
Can we remove
I
eight
am.
rows?
Yeah, it's just too many. People don't need that many.
Okay,
No,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Listen. 8 rows, and I tell you how parrot stuff works.
By my count.
We will add. We will.
We will. That's right. That's right. You will. No, it's okay. I appreciate it. I mean, ultimately, it's beneficial for a lot of players, not just myself. But it's that obsessive compulsive part of me where I need to have a slot for every warlord, and right now I don't. There is a whole 3 or 4 warlords that are slotless because everything's full. So it'd be nice to get those. And last but not least, at least from my end, we've got a little bit more to talk about here, but is there a way to determine the number of players in high Terra at the end of a season versus the players at low Terra? And how does that compare to the percentage of the remaining player base? I think my question here is mainly, when you look at the end of a season, does it appear over the time that the number of players actively playing in Terra has shrunk over time?
It's difficult to define. I mean, in general, so it's difficult to define sort of player base in comparison to Terra because, do we count lapsed players that have played for an hour? Have they, or if they haven't passed the tutorial?
Mm-hmm.
In regards to working out percentages, all that needs to be taken into account. So the metrics are quite difficult to sort of decide on, I suppose. It's always, high Terra has always been quite a small fraction of the game. We have, across mobiles mostly, ignoring Steam statistics, we've got thousands and thousands of players that are playing this game. So yeah, Terra is always, well, high Terra anyway, top 50.
Mm-hmm.
It's always going to remain a very, very small percentage. Probably less than 1% of the player base. It's worth saying.
So the 1% is a thing. It's real.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably even less than that, high Terra. It is less than that, I can tell you.
So high Terra is listed at 3,800, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, do you know why that was changed? It wasn't a question.
No, I've no idea. I will ask the question. I don't know why it was changed.
Mr. Everguild, I'll tease you with what Parrot does if you find this information.
Parrot is not going to be happy with you when you get back on Discord.
No,
I love Parrot is my favorite bird. I love Parrot. He's my favorite Russian.
Well, those are the questions that I had. In addition to the questions that we've already asked, I really hope that everybody who's listened so far for the questions that they submitted has heard what they submitted, has heard their answer, whether they like the answer or not. But we've got more to talk about. I want to talk about and get as much detail as possible about this expansion that's coming out this week. What can we look forward to expect? What's the date? What's the card count? What's involved in it? And then also, can we then talk about these spoil cards that we've got?
Yeah. So, expansion's coming out on the 26th of November. It's the Sons of Horus, World Eaters, Death Guard, Imperial Fist, Blood Angels, and White Scars. They're the primary defenders of Terra after the Emperor's Children went dallying around and not really doing anything. 45 new cards overall in this batch. Not all of them are collectible, though, and that might seem a bit vague, but you'll see what I mean if you watch the reveals.
I mean, even then, non-collectible cards are common. We have Primarch transformations.
Yes.
We have special cards for some warlords. We have Chaos Spawn, which, okay, this isn't a question, but please, why is Chaos Spawn in the word bearer category when he's all neutral that produces it?
I can't say.
Because that's a bit confusing.
I think better comparison for non-collectible cards are like stuff. What's it called? The Dark Angel's Legendary Secret, whatever.
Forbidden Secret, is it?
Yeah, Forbidden Secret. Like 3 cards or 4, 5 cards. What you can get out of it. Those are non-collectible.
Even better, mutations. There's like 15 of them.
Yeah, cards like that. It's a new type of mechanic, though.
So potentially,
it's nothing like you've seen before.
Oh, there's a new mechanic.
Yes.
Unlike anything we've ever seen before.
Yeah, to a degree.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be unique per legion. But I'll just mention it again. Watch some of the reveals coming out in the next week, and you'll see what I mean.
By the numbers, I mean, just by average, if we were to divide it by average, it sounds like roughly, and you don't have to confirm this or not, we'll find out soon enough, but roughly it's about 7 cards per faction. 7 new cards per faction. Now, are neutrals included in that number, or are they going to be added to that number at all?
Neutrals will be most likely added. Don't take my word on this. Don't hold me to it, should I say? At the end of after all the legions.
Okay, all right. And then so this expansion here is much. It's probably about a third the size of your average expansion. I think it's actually less than a third. with that, I mean, we're still new cards. It's still exciting. It's still new stuff to add to. We got a new mechanic or new card type. We've got more cards for factions. We've got 5th Warlords. We know that we're getting. But with the change to the expansion batch, as you said, it's a batch. Is that going to change the timing for future batch releases? Typically, we get 2 expansions a year. But they're much bigger than this one.
Yeah, don't worry. We're not going to be releasing them all over the course of multiple years. Yeah, don't worry about that.
So, I mean, we could probably get more than 2 next year?
I very much would have thought so, yeah.
Oh, right. That's the meat and potatoes right there. All
yeah,
right.
don't worry about us. Yeah, don't worry about that type of stuff. We want to get people. We've got a lot of the cards already sort of in concept ideas. Some of them are going to be absolutely amazing. And we want to get them out to the community as fast as possible, but we have to make sure that it's done right.
Yeah, that's fair, and especially if you're adding a new card type. Typically there was a question earlier about power creep, and sometimes when a new card type is added, that's available to certain, whether it's a faction or a new card pool or like whatever it is, and we've seen it with features and traits, it tends to dominate or becomes a big feature. And if you've got 6 or even 4 of the 6 that have this new card type, and you've got 32 other factions that don't, those 32 other factions, to some degree, one way or the other, are going to play a little less or have a little less options to them. So if you're rolling that out at a faster rate to get them up to speed, I think that's really good. I think that's the best approach, as opposed to taking the time. We've already got the factions. We've already got all the cards. It's just adding to it.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. That's going to be the case.
All right.
But I can't give you a roadmap for it yet.
That's fair. I mean, the future, as we know in the Eye of Terror Studios, time is always ever changing. And
it is, yes. Roadmaps are our worst enemy.
That's it.
For multiple reasons. Things might come up or things might change. And it's just no good being held to something that is quite flexible.
Okay. Well, we've got some time left still here to talk about these spoilers. We've got 3 cards to spoil. I am going to be sharing these images at some point, either probably both as a video as well as up on the Discord, for people to actually take a look and get hyped, get salivating. The 3 cards that I've got, is going to be World Eaters. We've got World Eater cards to talk about here. So I'm going to start with the troop, the Ashkel Squad, and we're going to have to describe this visually for people. So you're just going to have to write these numbers down before you actually get the image. So you're going to actually have to listen. This is a 4-cost troop. It's a 3 attack, 3 health troop. It's a World Eaters. It's a Astartes. It's a tactical squad. It has Berserk, and then it has Rage. Gain a Mark of Chaos. That's it. That's pretty significant.
I mean, if it gets Nurgle on its first go, that can be some fun things.
That can be pretty big. That you get some extra health on there, or you ping it twice with Karn, and it's got 2 Marks of Chaos out the gate. Looking pretty good.
Yeah, honestly, it can be really good with Dar as well.
Yes. Dar is ping superior. Speaking of warlords,
Karn is random ping.
Yeah. Speaking of warlords that support troops, Combat Frenzy is a tactic. This is a 4 energy tactic for the World Eaters, which I think this is my favorite art out of the 3 personally that I've got. And the artwork is Angron, but it's like, we talked about this prior to start recording. This is like Jim Lee style Angron. It's fantastic. Combat Frenzy. Give your warlord, after attacking, heal 1 to your troops. So just imagine this going off after you attack and you ping Wraith or Argus Brond or anything. I mean, shoot, even the Lork Squad. I mean, this is a really nice. It's a rare. This has potential for World Leader troop decks. So
yeah, imagine running 2 of them on Khan.
Yeah.
Ooh, that could be fun.
And then, last but not least, is an epic. This is an epic troop. This is, I think, Oliver, you'd said that this is your favorite of the entire expansion.
Of this batch of the expansion, my favorite. It's, I believe it's pronounced Iokare, his name, Iokare. Yeah, he's was a World Eater librarian.
Yes, they did have them for one shiny moment before they were all wiped out.
They got yeeted into oblivion, I believe is the term you're looking for.
And he's a 2 energy troop. He costs 2 energy. And he is a 1 attack. He is a 4 health troop. He's an epic. And he has rage. Deal 1 to 2 damage to all other troops.
Not bad at all.
So he's got ways to deal damage on top of other ways to deal damage. And it's 1 to 2, which is very nice. So it's not just deal 1, he actually could deal 2 to a whole board, if the RNG is in your favor.
Comboing him with Lork Squad, Combat Frenzy, Ashkal Squad, with a Shabrandar deck or a Khan deck, it becomes really powerful.
What's the 1 energy tactic that deals 1 damage?
Strike and Fade? Yeah.
No, there's an AoE on the World Eaters, right? That deals 1 damage to all, isn't there?
No, you're thinking Ruinstorm. You're thinking Ruinstorm.
I think you're thinking Kethbikes.
Or Kethbikes, yeah,
Kethbikes,
right.
oh yeah.
I think with Kethbikes, he could be amazing. He can clear, especially low health troops on the enemy board. If you play that with, some damage on him, he can deal a lot of damage. With Kethbikes, it's up to 3 damage to the whole enemy board, clearing out some agents of the Sigillite low troops. That can be amazing.
I think thematic-wise as well, World Eaters Librarians, for those who didn't know, when they had the nails, it reacted really badly to their psychic power.
Yes.
It killed other World Eaters, it killed the Librarians. So having this and having his ability to inflict pain on everybody is, I think, really sort of thematic, and that's why he's my favourite by far.
I like
there
the
are some
artwork
other
too.
great cards, but
yeah,
he's great.
I think this is really great because we just did World Eaters on our last episode, the episode that aired today as of the date of this recording, and we were talking about World Eaters and their current state. And obviously, we did not have all the details or know what was upcoming with the expansion, so that episode, as some information or data sometimes is quickly outdated, or hopefully will be have some stuff to add to it. But this is exciting. I mean, out of these look good. I can imagine even if there's only 4 more or 3 more, or added with a 5th Warlord, hopefully a troop-focused World Eater Warlord could really make go of these. I think Dar alone can make these work easily. These would fit into his deck without even having to incorporate anything else. You could trade out Ashkal for Lork if you wanted to. The Librarian here, Iocare, is just, I'm going to call him Iocare, and he's probably going to gain the name I Don't Care at some point, but that's a powerful epic, especially turn 1, you play that out, your opponent has to deal with this troop before they can play their troops of their own. Otherwise, he might as well just, not put down a 3 health troop or even a 4 health troop. There's a potential that Iocare could wipe them out. So these look nice.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what decks, especially Shabrandar, can make with this. Crumbling Battleground would be sort of really potent with this type of deck. But yeah, it's worth mentioning as well, we're wanting to, and you'll see this with the future reveals, we're wanting to bring Astartes back to the forefront. The Horus Heresy was fought by Astartes. They were at the forefront of it. So we think it's thematically right, and sort of for balance-wise and for bringing a bit of spice to the game, to bring Astartes back to the forefront. So expect to see a lot of Astartes focus in the coming week.
Excellent.
Hey, I'm not going to complain.
No, not at all.
So far, it's really looking good. The 3 cards we are seeing right now, I think 2 cards are really, really good, and 1 card is conditionally very fun to play. The Ashkal Squad it can be super good. I'm not sure if it will make it in many World Eater stacks, but Combat Frenzy and Iocare or Iocare, they are great. They are probably what the World Eater's card pool was missing for a long time.
Yeah, some way to heal their troops. Because, when you're building off of Rage only goes so far till you have a corpse.
Right, but if you're healing while you're attacking, those corpses are going to do a lot more damage before they become corpses.
Yeah,
at that point, they won't even be corpses.
You guys will very much like the new World Eater Warlord, which I think has already been leaked by a certain parrot.
Really?
I got to dive into that parrot file now, baby.
It has.
Yes. No, I can't say anymore, but yeah, it will.
Axel,
It will
write it to me,
gel
please.
very, very well with some of the new World Eater cards.
Very cool.
Don't speak it out. Write it.
But that's all I can say, or else I'll get a slap on the wrist.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
So basically, you can't talk about the leaks, but we can, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Well, not on the official Q&A, anyway.
No, not on the official. Amongst ourselves, we can mention
On the theory crafting.
That's right. That's right. Well, I know it's we've gone over the 2-hour mark, and I know you guys, Terse and Oliver, you guys are on the European side, and you guys have stayed up late to make this happen. I appreciate your time. I hope for everybody who's stuck around listening, we got a lot of questions answered, and people found it entertaining, and hopefully come back to listen to more of the podcast as we do. But before we get going, typically we ask a couple questions. Oliver, when you're not playing Legions, what do you do?
Test Legions.
Okay.
No, I'm a pretty big Total War fan at the minute. So I'm hammering Total Warhammer 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you excited for 3?
I've just watched the new Nurgle vs. Zinch trailer, which
I haven't
really
seen
good.
that one yet.
Yeah, it looks really, really nice. So yeah, I'm also a massive. I play Hunt Showdown. It's a FPS, and that's a brilliant game. But yeah, I'm a massive PC gamer, to be honest.
All right. Well, if there's anybody who should be testing our games, it should be massive gamers, massive PC gamers, and or people who have got the passion for it. So I appreciate that. I will get into plugs. Besides the new expansion, or actually, if you want to include the new expansion, is there anything you would like to plug?
Play the game.
Play the game.
No. Keep supporting the game like you guys have been doing for going on nearly 3.5 years now. It's just more of a shout out to the community. I've been in the Discord for a while, unofficially, and it's a very dedicated community we've got. So with any Warhammer game, people feel very passionate about it. So honestly, keep it up. The bad feedback as well as the good feedback. Keep it all coming in. That's all I can say.
All right. How about you, Terse? Anything you want to plug?
Join the tournaments. We have some really fun tournaments lined up in the near future. I think the next big tournament will probably be Lodge Wars again in spring, like the 6th episode. And then we will have a World Cup again next year, which is always quite entertaining to watch. And we have a format for everyone. Play the game, join the tournaments, you will have fun, I guarantee it to you. The people are nice, and you don't have to be scared of anybody. They are all
fear them.
Human beings.
Fear Spellbreaker.
Spellbreaker is fine. He's actually, if you talk to him, he's...
Oh no, he's 100% right, but there's a reason why he wasn't allowed in this tournament. Fear Spellbreaker. He can't stop winning.
He's very good.
He doesn't stop winning.
Good. Yeah,
he went to the VK tournaments knowing no Russian simply so he could win there too.
With Spellbreaker, what you can say about him, he's super dedicated to the game. Some people would call him a tryhard, but that's not bad. If you want to win,
Spellbreaker.
You can respect it. I have been to a degree mad about him in some tournaments. If he comes with so much passion to beginners tournaments and you're like, okay, was that really necessary to bring that certain faction? But in the end, I can't fault him for it. And he helps players as well. He educates them. And that's something nobody can take back from you. If you get a good advice on how to improve from one of the best players in the game, that's something getting for free.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The guy's super good.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I'm just laughing at his tournament record so far. It's scary.
Yeah, but I think there are also some others who have quite a scary. Autonal has a good one. I am a bit surprised. I think Mr. Midnight has some really good showings the last time. He started attending tournaments 3 months ago, and he has won 3 or 4, which was kind of crazy. I don't know. There are some good people, but we have formats in place for other people to improve their chances to win as well, and give those few guys who are in the top.
So yeah, just get involved.
Yeah, that's how I got Sanguinius. Never thought I'd get him other way, but I went into a tournament and I won it.
How about you, Axel? You want to plug?
I'll do the usual. I'll plug my boy Dorn. He drew my adorable little crab I got here. That's Dorn Stash on Instagram and Drew Lee Clark.
Remove deck slots, I guess, is my plug.
Oh,
We have too many.
that's fighting words. I'm plugging deck slots as I always will. I'm happy to hear that we're getting them, but I want to
Depends how
see
much you
them.
pay us.
There's gems to go. You can
Oh, he wants money. He wants hard cash.
hard cash. We'll
Yeah, I'll
talk.
send you my PayPal.
That's it. I've got a Venmo and GoFundMe
Alright.
for deck slots is what I'm saying. No,
I got another plug.
Oh,
Plug
go ahead.
Parrot. Keep being in EG's hair. Keep doing what you do. I love you, Parrot.
Parrot's gotten a lot of plugs throughout this whole conversation. If you haven't paid attention to the content, we've got a lot of players, a lot of people who are involved in the community, and they do all sorts of things. Parrot is a big part of that for the data miners, and we've got content creators, we've got tournament players,
Digging.
we've got lodge masters, we've got recruits, and we've got salt miners. That's the one I wanted to throw out there. But ultimately, Oliver, Everguild community manager, I appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity to have this discussion. Hopefully, the forum having the Q&A in this style, having a little bit more conversation other than just typed responses, I hope is really is intriguing to people. I hope it was a good listen. I hope they got some information out of it. I feel like whether or not we like all the answers, I think this is probably one of the best Q&As I've had, and obviously I've enjoyed it for other reasons, but I think we've had a lot more explanation, which I don't think you can get in the same way. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's no problem. It's a really nice been on, and thanks for having me on.
All right. Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't thought about it, consider following us and checking out our episodes weekly. We air normally every Thursday, and you can listen to us on whatever podcast platforms you're on that you're listening to that on right now. And if you've got feedback or you've got questions or you would like to participate in the podcast and upcoming episodes, feel free to reach out, PM me on Discord or on Facebook or on Reddit. This is a podcast by players for players. We talk to players from all levels. It doesn't matter if you're a pro, it doesn't matter if you're top 50, if you're a tournament, if you're play hard, casual. We like to hear who's in our community and share experiences and our enjoyment about the game, and that's the whole point of this podcast. So
It
with
doesn't
that,
even matter if you're a community manager.
that's right, So with that being said, that's it for me, guys. Bye.
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 A magnificent ending.
This has been another episode of the Warp Chatter Podcast. Thank you for listening.
Yes. Yes.
Shh. It's over. Don't fight it.